Dr. Pogue is the president, CEO of JP Enterprises. Leadership and training are at the core of who Dr. Pogue is, and his drive his commitment to equip executives and professionals with thought leadership to communicate and manage effectively. His military service, scope of research, and work as a speaker and entrepreneur give him tangible examples of the critical balance between leaders and followers on teams. He provides leaders with well-researched data partnered with highly engaged training to improve their ability to impact behavior and the bottom line. Presenting There's Something Wrong with the Village, please help me welcome Dr. James Pogue.
Morning, y'all. Morning. All right. It's so good to be in the South. People just respond to you, you know. Growing up as a middle child, I like to get attention. So if y'all could work with me on that. As I mentioned last year, I'm in therapy about it, but I'm still working through it. So if y'all just work with me on this, it's going to be okay. So when I was contacted about doing some legacy lessons, I said, okay, yeah, I can do that. I might have some things that I can share. And then Danya says, well, we're going to put you in between the keynote of the Pelhams and the good brother, Deacon Dr. Chairman Maurice. I said, oh. So I'm nestled in between the keynote and the legend. I said, well, I guess all I have to do is work to be great, and then it'll be okay. She says, oh, yeah, you'll be fine. Danya will convince you some stuff if you're not careful. So I want to share some thoughts that I've been having around the village. And what I mean by the village is the place that we live, the places that we work, the people that we live with, the people that we work with, all of that as our village. And yes, the village is complex and productive and necessary. I'd like to draw our attention to some of the gaps and some of the work I think that we can do together. With humility, I'd share with you that there is perhaps something wrong with the village, but that yes, we can fix it. I'm sure we can agree that it is important to sit at the feet of our elders in business, in community, and family, to learn, to train, to be challenged, and to be supported. Yet we have helped design a village where elders are often not as honored as highly while they are working as when they retire or transition. We wait too long to elevate. We are too hesitant with our praise, and at times we are too effusive. We seem to have forgotten that it is the flaws of these leaders which help make them great. Which is odd because it was they who inspired us when they were both fantastic and flawed. There's something wrong with the village. We have designed a village where your name is more important in your personal advertisement or your brand than the people who trained you, the people who made you. How did our names become more important than the ones we patterned ourselves after? Who reared us, who raised us professionally and personally. Imagine a business community where you had to introduce yourself based on the people who trained you, who challenged you, who hired you, who fired you, versus your own name, or perhaps the personal affirmations you have scrawled on your bathroom mirror. There's something wrong with the village. We have cultivated a culture where being disagreeable is derogatory, where being critical is contrary, a culture where intellectual debate about ideas and concepts devolves from raised voices to raised fists to raised firearms. A good debate about ideas, one that is rigorous and robust. This is what spurred the greatest minds of yesterday. It is what sharpened the minds of our intellectual giants and gave them sharp minds and skillful tongues. Instead, we have lots of folks with quick minds and sharp tongues. There's something wrong with the village. We have a village institutional memory of a gnat. There are a few of us that can trace ourselves back 4 generations or more, not just in our families, but in our positions in our organizations, those that came before. Perhaps too often, we are proud of being the first, the inaugural, or the founder, and we do not know the names and stories of those who toiled so we could have the chance to stand out front or sit comfortably sipping our mimosas and our cafe lattes. Yes, we are fully aware that our parents are our first teachers, but it may have slipped from us that they remain our teachers for a lifetime, no matter what lessons they choose to teach us or the method they choose to use to teach us. Yes, we must honor those that came before us, and we must also be grateful for all the lessons, not just the ones we think were the good ones. There's something wrong with the village. We have grown quite fond of pushing ourselves and those we support to the front, but ironically only so far to the front. Only till the discomfort becomes too uncomfortable. The changing the trajectory of a family, an organization, an industry, a movement is dangerous work. There's a fee to be paid, and it will cost you. It will be painful, and it will be terrible. It will be unfair, and it will be unjust. You will be pummeled and beaten and bruised, and you know what? So what? You will be hamstrung and underpaid and overworked, and so what? We are fond of discussing our brilliance, our exceptionalness, and yet we seem sometimes to have missed the reason for the gifts we were given. Let me be plain. We are designed, developed, and delivered to be in service of others. It is why we exist. On a slightly separate note, most of us are average at most things. Some of us are a little better than average at some things. A smaller number are exceptional. Fewer are elite, and even fewer are singular. Each level requires more and more work and sacrifice, not more and more flash and marketing. At least it used to. There's something wrong with the village. Today we are reaping the professional harvest of telling everyone they can be LeBron James, Michael Jordan, insert favorite player there. We do this absent the hard work, absent the physical gifts, absent the intellectual fortitude, absent the sacrifice, absent the pain, absent the trauma, both necessary and not so much. When you consider the lessons we have learned from our legacy, from our legends, from our village, I'd remind us of the following: that each of you exist, each of us exist, each moment you exist, each conversation you have, each life you impact, that moment, that hour, that 5 minutes, that fraction of a second, it is the only reason your village ever existed at all. It is the reason the people behind you existed, for that moment, that fraction of a second with that person who needs you, that you must be in service of. It is the reason the people around you exist. It's the reason the people support you exist. So that you can be in service of others. They existed to give me, to give us, to give you an opportunity to make the life and the moment with the person in front of you better, much better. So to all of us, I ask the tough questions. Are they proud of us? Those that built us, are they proud of us? Those that supported us, are they proud of us? Those that challenged us, are they proud of us? Those that fired us, are they proud of us? Are they proud of that moment you had 5 hours ago when you were on the phone with that person about that thing? Are they proud of the moment you had 5 minutes ago when you got that text or that email or that phone call from that person about that thing? Are they proud of the thought that passed through your mind about that person who asked you for that thing just a little while ago? Or are they wondering, when will I, when will we, when will you fully take up the yoke of leadership, all of it? And with this yoke of leadership, we must take and drag and push and pull our village to where it is supposed to be. As the old saying goes, you are the one we have been waiting for. It is you. It's not the person next to you. It's not the person across from you. It is you. We've been waiting all day for you. Welcome. It is you and I that are the village. It is you and I who must fix the village. All the ills, we can address them. When we do our part and more. When we listen at the feet of our leaders and more. When we accept our limitations and more. When we are honest with the person in the mirror and more. There is something wrong with the village, but I am certain that that we, that you can fix it. Thank you.